Welcome back to the coffee table, the place for knowledgeable and non-political conversations. Today, you might have noticed Faisal and I have switched positions.
Yep.
We thought we'd try something different, just to make sure that you guys are paying attention. So I hope you've noticed the change. I hope you've noticed that the two of us don't look alike. But moving on from there, Faisal,
Yep.
how do you like your new position?
I love it.
Love it?
Right. And I always try to understand what's this about 5-year terms? Why can't there be shorter terms? Why can't we switch around?
Why can't we just switch positions? Why can't we
absolutely.
just, behave like normal human beings?
Yes,
instead of in control?
absolutely, without a doubt.
So anyway, today we have decided to take up another very important subject. And this is thanks to Faisal. I'm kind of bored of economics, as you know, so I don't want to do economics. But Faisal still wants to do economics.
Yes.
So he wants to
I get taxed too much. I want to know why.
That's a problem. Now, you can see he gets taxed too much because he's a wealthy man.
Yeah.
I don't get taxed because I'm a poor man. But that's besides the point. So we've got Dr. Ikramul Haq here. Now, anybody who reads newspapers will know Dr. Ikramul Haq. Anybody who watches television will know Dr. Ikramul Haq. Dr. Ikramul Haq is one of our best, I can say without hesitation, one of our best tax analysts, tax policy analyst, tax lawyer. Everything about taxes is an encyclopedia. You should go to him and check him out. But more importantly, Dr. Ikramul Haq also has carried on his personal crusade on taxes for the last 10, maybe 15 years, maybe more. He has an extensive knowledge of taxation because he's been an FBR employee. He is now one of our topmost tax lawyers. He also teaches tax in LUMS and various places. He writes most prolifically on tax. He writes almost a newspaper article every day. And he's got a wonderful paper that he wrote for the Prime Institute on tax policy, which I think is an eye-opener and which I hope the government takes notice of, because I think we really need to worry about our tax policy. But before I get ahead of the game, I just want to ask a question of Faisal first. Faisal, do you pay your taxes?
I do. I've been paying my taxes
for as long
as
as
I've been earning.
Do you know any tax cheats in this country? Do you know any tax cheats in this country?
How many do you want to know?
You think you know a lot of them?
I think I come across quite a few.
Do you think we have more tax cheats here than in America or UK or India or other places?
As a percentage of population, I'd say we are at par.
Par with the rest.
We are at par with
Then, Dr. Saab, why does everybody call us as the most tax cheating country in the world?
I have a different view because in Pakistan, the reality is that about 95 million mobile users, they are paying 12.5% adjustable income tax. I'm not talking about consumption tax, which is GST.
That's an income tax.
Yeah. This is adjustable as well. It's not full and final. Like we have about 68 withholding provisions now, which is unprecedented in any world tax code I have studied.
This is all indirect taxation then?
No, this is actually many taxes are like transactional.
Okay.
You say like you have a rent and you have a rent of 400,000. So they say the 10% tax is your full and final. So it's a gross receipt and percentage.
Right.
So out of these 68, there are many which are in the nature of what they call presumptive taxation, that they have presumed that, for example, you are earning dividend. So for your dividend, it's a 15% if you are not filing return. Okay. But if you are filing return, it is 12.5%.
All right.
And the gross amount is your income. It's
so 2.5% you get for filing your return.
Yes. Right. So they have these kinds of systems. You will find that's very difficult in Pakistani scenario to understand even that within the income tax law, they have consumption tax, they have transaction tax, they have capital gains. So all kinds of taxes they have imposed in one statute, although its name is income tax law, but you cannot say it is in the classical term, income taxation, where you have net income and then you apply gradual rates. Okay. So what income tax historical was that the more you earn, the more you pay. And as you earn more, your rate of tax also gradually goes high. So,
I worked in the UK, right? And I was paying almost 42% in terms of income tax plus national insurance. But it never hurt.
Yes.
It never hurt because I thought I was getting something in return.
So here it hurts poor a lot, because if there is a widow and she's earning, say, interest on bank deposit of 100,000 only or 200,000. Though taxable limit is still 400,000.
Right.
On that you have to pay only 1,000 rupee tax.
Right.
But in her case, she will be punished and penalized by paying as high as 12% tax on this 200,000.
How does this happen? I mean, how do you justify that?
Oh, yeah, that is the point. So what I'm saying is that out of these 95 million from where I started my case, and this is the largest number of people you will find in tax base.
Right.
Because in Pakistan, total number of subscribers are now 152 million.
Yeah, but that means
But
double
also
SIMs,
SIMs, yes.
SIMs thrown away,
Basically,
everything.
this occurs because we've got withholding income tax on various streams
Events,
of
yes.
billing.
Yes.
For example, you bill telephones, you got a withholding income tax on that, electricity, internet, schooling. How many withholding income taxes do we have in all?
As far as the adjustable as you will find that now they are not more than 10. Okay. So other 58 are like they are asking you, do not report to us your income.
Okay.
But we are happy that you are paying us some percentage. Sometime it is for your use of electricity. Sometime it is the gross amount that you are receiving. That's your real income. But you are not subjected according to your level of income. As I said, this dividend or your interest income.
Right.
So it hardly matters if even 100 rupees.
So then let's look at it this way. So the majority of the people are paying income tax because it is deducted from their telephone bill or other places, right?
Yes.
So they're paying income tax. So majority of the people are paying income tax even if they are below the threshold.
Yes.
Right? But at the same time, it's a kind of a nuisance tax because it goes to people who don't have to pay income tax, like you use a cell phone or something. How much is the total contribution of this kind of tax to the total tax bill?
The total collection from withholding tax of mobile users last year was 120 billion. Then Supreme Court came to their rescue asking why you are
taxing it so heavily,
withholding taxes from the poor people.
What about bank transactions? How much?
Bank transactions was also like 95 billion.
And what about things like electricity and school fees?
They are, in numbers, they were not good, below 50 billion even, like from interest and other things.
Total percentage of indirect taxation or taxes collected in this way.
No, but indirect taxation, you have to be clear.
All right.
Indirect taxation is what the government gets from transactions.
Okay, yeah.
Right? This is income tax that is deducted from transactions too. So they're kind of mixed up the two things. And that's very important to point out.
So, you know, out of total collection, what they call income tax, although I have distinguished that it's not income tax in classic sense.
Because, you know, when you're talking about mobile users, the largest percentage are what you call the prepaid users.
Yes, prepaid.
And by definition, these are not people who have a lot of money.
Yes,
right? That's why they buy small amounts, right? 50 rupees, 100 rupees load.
So my driver always
that.
tells me about a 100 rupee card and I only get 60 rupees a phone call.
Yeah, that is what was happening till the Supreme Court stepped in, right? And said, no, you can't do that. You know, you're just deducting too much.
So on the one hand, they have so much hassle for the people to withhold and then to deposit. And in between, you know...
So, Doctor, what you're saying is banks have become tax departments?
Yes.
Right? Phone companies have become tax departments, so everybody is a tax collector.
Yes.
Yet FBR has how many people?
There are about 22,000 in IRS.
So what do they do?
So that is what...
I mean, they have coffee? What do they do?
Yes, they're sitting always on coffee table.
No, I mean, you know, 22,000 people, they don't collect any taxes. Banks are collecting taxes and so and so. Huh?
So I will give you a figure which will be amazing for all of us and our viewers as well. That last year, they collected only 5% with their own efforts in income tax, and 95% came either through withholding or voluntarily because they also
send them home.
So 22,000 people collect 5% of the tax. 95%.
That does not mean that I suddenly have my taxes scrutinized.
95% come from banks and other places. Everybody is collecting taxes, but the tax collectors.
So, you know, big companies, they paid like advance tax and also withholding taxes. So, and at the time of return, but their own efforts were so negligible that this point was raised time and again, that do we need this kind of institution that has a very negative image in the public. People are afraid of going to, like they go afraid of going to Thana. So FBR is like a Thana. It's not a facilitator. It's not a kind of organization that...
How many countries have a system like this?
Oh, I think even the worst we can near home, like we are like Indians, but they are not as bad as we are. The total withholding provisions, they have about only 10 to 11.
Has it always been like this, or it's been deteriorating over the years?
No. It was never like this.
But Faisal, I want you to note, we are innovative in one thing.
Yes.
So this is innovation, right? So please remember.
You got the whole country collecting taxes.
So we are the best, most innovative.
So they have given outsourced their job and without any payment. You know, at one point of time, the government since said that we are collecting on your behalf, on your vehicles and other things, and we will have 2% service charge. So they decided at their own what the service charge will be, and they remitted the minus and the remaining 98% to FBR. FBR became very angry, and they actually said we are going to freeze your accounts and we will recover this 2%. And later on, what they did, they inserted a section.
Who are the top people in the FBR? Are they again DMG or are they specialists? In terms of revenue, in terms of understanding of finance?
In fact, they are lazy and lethargic, so it hardly matters from which service they come.
Great job.
Because the law has been changed in a way, as we have been discussing, that if 78% is coming through withholding, and the rest through advance and voluntarily at the time of return, and your own effort is so. And even this 5% later on becomes refund because their rate of success in court is not
low.
more than 5-6%. So ultimately, out of this 5%,
demand. This is what this is demand.
And they collected it through coercive measures. But ultimately, people will spend some money, hire lawyers like us.
So, Dr. Saab, in a nutshell, what you're saying is our tax policy is deeply flawed.
Certainly.
It's a mess.
One of the things that you're saying is that because of the withholding system, the tax incidence is falling on the wrong people.
Yes.
Two, we may not be able to collect as much as we should. And FBR is a great retirement job, so that's wonderful. Now, tell me, this myth that we have that we don't collect enough taxes, that our tax GDP ratio is very low, how correct is this? I mean, do we not collect enough taxes?
No, I think this is also another myth, because if you take the whole of agriculture sector, because under the constitution, tax on agricultural income is a provincial subject. And all the 4 provincial subjects decided that though there are laws, but they said we will not collect.
Because they're the ones who are sitting there.
Yes. So, so you know that whatever their now contribution, if it is 20% in the whole GDP, so you take away this, and if you then apply to the balance 80%, then our ratio will be even better than India in this region, which we keep. So this is also a myth. What I will say that if you look at one figure, you will be astonished that only 4,000 or little less than that paid 10 million or above. This is when they publish tax directory from tax year 2013 to 2016. We have 4 tax directories. One is only for parliamentarians, the other is for all Pakistanis. So if you analyze that, you will find that about 50% file nil returns. So although 95 million are paying 12.5%, which is the largest number we have found from one withholding provision, but on the other hand, you will find that only less than 1.5 million file returns.
That's less. That's hardly.
So about 1.5% of this whole. But even if they file, for example, then out of these 95 million, how many will get refunds? Because their income is less than 400,000. But the question is that is this country so poor, for example, that if we see from the numbers of FPR, that only 3,700 and some four like that, but it is less than 4,000, I am sure. And this is the pattern for last 4 years, that they pay exceeding 10 million.
Right.
So this is a very small number. Either they have this law where you have so many exemptions, so either they take benefit of that, but the real incomes are, we are not sure about that. But one study which I came across was that the average net wealth of Pakistani parliamentarians is $9,000. And the highest was like $35 million.
So they should not be filing any nil.
But
returns.
their returns, if you look at that, they only show that their 98% show that their only source of income is emoluments from the state. But their living style shows that perhaps from that particular amount. And this may be, I have taken the case of parliamentarian because they have the right to impose law.
I think we have to go towards a break now, because the television station has to earn money. I think we leave it at that point where you're blaming parliamentarians, but I want to take issue with you later, because there are people like Faisal as well here. Why are you blaming only parliamentarians?
Yes.
So Faisal, we'll go for a break and then we'll come and take you in.
I'll count my money in the meantime.
Absolutely. Thank you. We are back to the home of the knowledgeable and non-political conversations, talking about taxes, which is a very boring subject. So I hope you guys are awake and looking at it.
How is tax boring?
Because I hate paying taxes.
It's always been there.
I hate paying taxes. Do you like paying taxes?
No, I don't.
Do you like paying taxes?
Nobody does.
Quite frankly, look, I keep telling you guys, I come from the libertarian school of thought.
Right.
There should be no government and no taxes.
No taxes.
Right? Now, people like Ikram force us to pay taxes. I'd like to know, please give us very clearly, what is wrong with our tax system? We have been trying to make it happen for 20, 30, 70 years maybe, to get a tax system that is modern, that is going to help us grow. Why can't we get that?
Yes. Because the basic fault line is customs, because there is a huge under-invoicing, and then also they import more goods, but they declare less.
Right.
So in a container, if you have
So even our export bill, right, is under...
So what happens when this kind of goods they get away with, and they remain outside the of course tax net. So certain traders, manufacturers, we are not only blaming parliamentarians, they are rich in this country. They go to Umrah 4 or 5 times. On wedding you see a lot of spending.
They go to Umrah on cheating taxes?
Yes. So they are rich.
This is amazing.
So, I mean, this is absolutely amazing.
So
I can't believe that.
With one country alone, which we keep on saying it's a friendly country, the actual export, they say, is 15 billion from our side.
Right.
But customs says it is 10 billion. So $5 billion is the gap.
Somewhere in the black hole, huh?
So this is with one country, that $5 billion under invoicing. So you can then imagine. So, and if you come to like sale tax and custom makes, quickly I will say that 60% tax come from POL products.
Right.
So there are only 5 or 6 revenue spinners like cars, and it's not the...
But Dr. Saab, I find that a little difficult to swallow. Because think about it, these problems in this day and age, with all kinds of technology available, I mean, it should be so easy to track.
Should have been.
This should be so easy to track. I mean, obviously, somebody in the customs department is not sitting and having coffee. They're doing other things, right? So obviously, somebody is making the gains. But still, our imports are only about $40 billion.
Yes.
Right? So how much revenue could we miss from them?
You know, if
Because if you look at it, the average tariff, even if it's 15%,
yes,
40 billion imports, we got maximum import of about $6-7 billion.
Yes, but then you see if we have a textile unit saying that we have 100% export, but then from where we are getting this local cloth, obviously they are cheating in a way that they are dumping. in the local market, but showing it as an export.
And
so,
getting a rebate against
rebate
it?
as well. So, you know, there is...
so there is some cheating going on.
Yes. Okay. So, briefly, we can say that when there is an alliance, I will not use the word unholy with that, and that unholy alliance is like you have lawmakers, you have law keepers and lawbreakers. If they all join hand, then you get this kind of state of affairs.
So there's some cheating going on, fair enough, but cheating happens in every country.
Yes.
Are you saying Pakistan, there's more cheating than India or Afghanistan or Iran or whatever?
I think there is always this tax gaps, but here it is so institutionalized.
Okay.
Okay, that's the word. So that's the only thing that's really institutionalized. Okay. So we do have some institutions functioning.
So that is my point. That here you give you all kind of statutory provisions. They give you all kind of procedures. And state for the long time has a law, and still it is a law of the land, which is called Protection of Economic Reform Act. Right. So you put some money in your foreign currency account, no question can be asked. You bring as much money as you want.
No. Last time I put some money in a foreign
they have
currency
started
account,
asking.
They took it away from me in
This is of very recent.
I don't know what you're saying. I just got $800 in my account because I lost some luggage, and they wouldn't even deposit it in my account without my going to the bank and signing something saying that,
where
hey,
this money came
I've
from.
got $800, right? So, I mean, how can that be that somebody can bring in $1 million, no questions asked?
You have found this happened only 6 months back when a case went to the Supreme Court. And there they asked, what is the problem with us? Why we are not asking the people from where the money is coming?
Why should we ask people questions?
Yes, that is a question.
I mean, let me ask you a simple question. For example, we keep hearing about SROs and exemptions.
Yes.
How much money do we lose in that?
Not less than, in SROs alone, now it is 500 billion a year.
500 billion a year we lose there?
Yes.
Right? In, for example, a distortionary tax system with all these withholding things happening, how much money do we lose there?
Not less than 1,500 billion.
So
that's about 2 trillion.
Yeah, we lose. Okay, now let me ask you a question. You did this paper that I love a lot, that I've quoted everywhere, that I'm a big supporter of. This paper that you wrote for Prime, which is on tax reform.
Yes.
Right? Let's come to that. I am a strong believer, and you proved it, that we should have a simplified tax system.
Certainly.
US has had 3 such movements. First time in Reagan, then in Bush, now in Trump. And each time it has paid off. Yes. Why can't we simplify our taxes? And second question, should we is there a payoff in simplifying taxes, or is there no payoff?
No, it will be a great payoff. My point in this paper is that if you have lower rate of taxes and it's a broad base, then these all kinds of things the people are doing, they will find it no more.
So my incentive to under-invoice will go away?
But the issue is that the people who are running FPR and also others, they don't want it, because then whatever...
the institution will fall apart.
That will be fall apart. And that is the real problem.
So give us your proposal, please. What is your proposal?
So my proposal is that for customs, starting from customs, you should have 1 chapter, 1 rate. So there will be no problem. What I am...
Please explain what 1 chapter, 1 rate.
You have all the classification under 1 chapter, that whatever you may import.
What do you mean by chapter? Explain it. Most people won't
because in tariff you have different chapters. That if you will...
What is a chapter?
Chapter means these are custom tariff chapters. That you have classifications. So there are always a lot of discretion. Give me an
example of a chapter.
Because there is a paper, and there is on one
take mobiles as an example.
Yes. There is one category which is subject to 5%. Right. The other category is subject to 15%.
Right.
So what they do, they use a lower category, but they import in higher category. And by this, the market is flooded by the higher category of the mobiles, but duty paid is only 5% instead of 15%.
Right.
So, like in paper, if you declare this very good white paper, which is a costly one and it is subject to 15%, but you declared a rough paper for your rough notebook and it is 0 rated.
Okay,
so let's put it this way.
Doc, let me ask one question.
Go ahead.
So in Pakistan, there are about 3 million Indian satellite dishes installed in homes, right? Now that's 3 million boxes that came into this country.
Yes.
On an average, $100 to about $120. That's a lot of money.
Yes.
That couldn't have come in baggage. That has to have come in containers under what regime was all that imported? Because there are no landing rights for these boxes.
No, if you are importing parts of TV, and you put 2,000 boxes inside that, so there is no system that your container is scanned. Right. In every country, you have a complete X-ray scanning of a...
But we put up these scanners in every port. I remember when I was in the Planning Commission, I paid for these. So where are they?
There is no scanning.
There's no
except the containers that...
Did you ever go and check?
that go to USA. They are fully scanned because that's a requirement of USA that no scanner will enter in their territory unless they have a preview of that. So what they do, we have suggested in this paper that each and every inbound, outbound container should be properly scanned and there should be archive for that.
But I object to Faisal's example. He's after people's entertainment. So what if they bring it? We need these
I have no problem.
After paying duty.
Right? But look, listen.
My question was, how can 3 million boxes sneak in?
Sneak in.
Now, please don't go elsewhere. Stop right there. So listen. Now, I accept that. What you're saying basically is simplify the tariff system, right? So basically, we have 3 kinds of goods. Raw materials, intermediate, and finished goods. Have 3 different tariffs, have clear, tight classifications, have clear scanning. Simple to understand, easy to administer, simple to do.
But there must be a lot of resistance to that.
Obviously. Because at the moment, as I said, that even the lawbreakers, they are the main beneficiary of that. So in the sale tax, you go to a restaurant. They charge you the full, and they are even getting 16% sale tax from you, but they are not depositing. So what we call it illegal enrichment, that you are collecting on behalf of the government, but you are not depositing to that. So you are becoming richer and richer every month because your huge sale, one, it is not reported to the government because you will not report the full sale then.
But I hope you realize the Prime Minister is now saying that making wealth, it's a good thing, not a bad thing. Right? So you don't object to making wealth?
No. It's okay. But I'm saying that you
don't make it illegal.
You don't make that wealth on my expense, that you are collecting 16% from me and you are not reporting your full sales. Therefore, you are keeping my money. That money now belongs to the state. So I'm deprived of my money. State is not getting its money.
So we've done tariffs. Now come to the domestic side.
Yes. So on domestic sales, we have a very high rate of 70%. And with these kind of rate, you are not giving people their, like if you are taking the model of West, then there you have all the facilities in lieu of that high GST, which they called VAT. So you should bring it down to 8%, and then it should be broad-based. Because
India is at 12.
India is 12, but you know, India has now one tax. They have one nation, one tax concept, and they are implementing it. Our point is that you have effective rate of tax is only 4.5%. Although you have 17%. But leakages are such, Nadeem, that we are in the end, what the state is getting is only 4.5%. So if I'm suggesting 8% across the board, with no exemptions.
Across the board? What is across the board?
Across the board is presently you have exempted 4,000 items. So what people are doing, as we have taken the earlier example, that then they mix up things. They taxable things, they intermingle with exempt things. So who will physically examine that? As I said, in a factory, you are lot of trucks are going out. So they have taxable supply and non-taxable supply. But what they are showing it is all 100% for export. So they are not paying because export is zero rated. But these
are actually coming into the local market.
Yes, local market. So you have to, if you bring the tax...
So you have a sales tax broad-based in VAT mode or not?
But that is good that if somebody has paid at the imports, it is always there because that supply chains that goes for documentation then. So it is always, you don't go for a single stage. It is in Canada or other countries called harmonized sale tax. So what is harmonized sale tax is?
So 8% in VAT mode.
Yes, VAT
now
mode.
what other taxes do you need? Should we have withholding taxes? Should we have presumptive taxes? Should we have taxes on my right arm and my left arm?
In income tax, if we go to the classic model and we bring the rate as low as to 10%, the collection will be much higher than what we are collecting now. Presently,
is that really what will happen?
Because
I'm used to not paying tax. Why will I pay tax even if it's 10%?
You know, when they...
Actually, nobody wants to pay tax.
Yeah, no, but I'm
In
saying
fact, the only person who wants to pay tax is a
presently,
madman.
this is not fair to say that they are not paying. They are foregoing lot of withholding.
That they are.
And secondly, they are paying lot of out of books because these people are not just leaving them that you are earning millions that they don't know. You know, that is the issue. So they go to any good business house. They say, this is your sales. We know this. You are not reporting your sale. We are your tax advisor. Now, at present, 90% tax advisory is with tax employees.
Yeah, that's true.
So what they do, they advise them.
It's called incest.
So what they do, they say, you need not to report total sales. Give us our share. So when they will not have that incentive, and they say that I am whitening my whole wealth, which Prime Minister says that there should be wealth creation. But wealth creation should also, it should be visible in our numbers then. It should not be hidden in, and you are keeping in your bank lockers, or you are in dollarization or other things. So if it is in a cycle.
So if it's 10% income, how will we collect?
You know, it will be simple because at the moment they are collecting only 1.4 trillion out of total income tax. But if you apply to the number, which is our tax base, like
the 91 million.
And you find that even 10% getting from all of them.
No, but there's a problem, Dr. Saab. Yes. We have a large number of people. In fact, I would say 80% of the population will be below the threshold.
Yes.
Right? If the threshold is fixed at 12, now it's 8, I think. 8 lakh rupees a year.
It is 400,000 is 1,000. And between 400,000 to 800 is 2,000.
So let's say.
And above that, 1,200,000 then gradually.
So a large number of people will be below the threshold. So they shouldn't be paying anything at all. And you're saying above, between 4 and 8, they should be paying 1,000, which is also nothing.
Yes,
which is really nothing,
just
right? It's just a token thing. So the question is, those people will not pay 10%, right? You still want to keep them below the level.
So the problem at the moment is that this gap is because of the main reason that people say once we have paid through withholding, that is the end of the matter. And you are also saying to them that we are not concerned with your real income. So if you go for like 20 million Pakistanis, like they have taxable income.
That's a high number.
20 million.
Let's do a quick calculation.
Yes.
How many people are actually employed? Let's say if
there are about 70 million at the moment is our workforce. 75 million.
Out of which they say about 6, 7, 8% is unemployed. Let's say 10 is unemployed, right? So we'll have 60 million, right? If we got 60 million, then we've got other issues, etc. I would say, I don't think we'd have more than 5 million taxpayers. Above.
Yes.
800,000.
At the moment you say we have this.
Because I can't imagine that our distribution of income is such that we'd have roughly about a third of our income above that level. Now remember, distributions of income are very, very skewed.
Yes.
So if they're skewed, the rich people will always be a very small percentage, anywhere in the world. Rich people will only be, let's say if you take rich people above 100,000, maybe 2% at best, 3%.
But you know, if you take it from another angle, that like we have 3 million retail outlets. And out of that...
That's a very raw nerve you're touching.
Yes. Now, 1 million retailers are making a lot of money. And they are not...
1 million retailers are making a lot of money.
Yes, a lot of money. Even if you now go to the small towns, you will see that they have plazas and there's a lot of consumption that Pakistanis... So this huge consumer society now...
Dr. Saab, I'm going to open a retail shop now after this.
So if you
because
go
you're saying they're making a lot of money.
So
but
what is
right now, we have to go towards a break. We have to go towards a break.
I've always wanted vegetable shops.
I think let's start that. Because quite frankly, if retailers make that much money,
retailers do make tons of money.
You know,
but let me go to a break. We'll take it up after the break. But what you've given us is very important, that tax simplification, tariff simplification, there is a huge payoff there. And what I want to know next from you is, why do we not take that bonus that is coming to us? Thank you. Let's go for a break. Welcome back to now what is rather a fractious coffee table, because we're all quarreling over retail.
Yes.
And they're telling me retail is a very successful business.
It is. It's
I
humongous.
am kind of dumbfounded, but nevertheless. So, Dr. Saab, now let's come back to this. So, tax and tariff, we sorted out, sales tax, income tax. Are you for a corporate income tax or not?
Yes, we should reduce it to 20% because...
So, you like to reduce taxes, huh?
Because corporatization can only happen if you give significant tax relief to corporate sector. Unfortunately, we were giving free hand to market, and these market bazaar walas are strong people. They were giving lot of money to political parties to run.
Yes.
But we intentionally, since 70s when the nationalization started, there was a bias, and then in assemblies, most of the people were feudals, landowners, and in real terms, what Pakistan is lagging behind, what my analysis is, that you have only and only 24,000 companies filing returns.
That's it.
And out of that, it is astonishing that 70% are either nil or they are in losses. So intentionally, you have such a high taxes for companies. First, they will have to pay like 25% or 30. Then on dividend, you have to pay 12 and 0.5 or 15. And other, you have turnover tax on them. You have alternate corporation tax on them.
So simplification again.
So again, for companies, if you give them incentive, they will invest, they will create jobs, and that is where Pakistan is lagging behind.
So, Dr. Saab, what about, so we've got now 4 taxes from what I can see. We've got tariffs, we've got sales tax, we've got income tax, and corporate income tax. Now, what about things like we keep hearing about surcharges, for example, then we hear about consumption taxes, then we hear about excises, then we hear about exemptions, all these things. Are you saying we shouldn't have them or should we have them?
Yes, we should not have them. I should go for only 3 simple taxes, as I mentioned, that you should have low custom duties, so that there should be more activity, more import, and that should be, then you will be a competitive company and country to produce goods, and that you can sell then, and your own market will be with cheap goods will be larger. Now you have, there will be expansionary mode. And secondly, in sale tax, since you will have lower sale tax rate, again, there will be no chances for the kind of, yes, and the corruption now we have in this system where illegal enrichment is going on. In income tax as well, what I explained is that you should have low rates, because presently the share of manufacturing is much higher than their contribution to GDP. On the other hand, wholesaler and retailers together are only contributing, say, 1%.
So what about
1% to sale tax and 0.5% to income tax on that. So you have your policies, your tax rates, your tax structure has suppressed corporate growth in a big way.
What's going to happen to Shalmi, Akbari Mandi, Jodia Bazaar?
So we are asking
Hall
them.
Road.
We are only asked. They are not reporting their incomes at all at the moment. So what we are saying that when you ask them, okay, if you are earning even 1 billion, and we are asking you as little as 10%, and your rest 90% is your wealth creation and wide for
You've talked to those people, right?
Yes.
I've talked to them too. They say something very simple.
Yes.
Now, what's wrong with that? Please tell me. They say, please don't make us file returns. Don't make us talk to those 22,000 friends of yours.
Yes.
They say, please don't let us talk to those guys.
Yeah.
All we want is you tell us how much tax you want, we'll give it to you.
Certainly.
What's wrong with that?
No,
nothing wrong with that.
Nothing is wrong. Therefore, what we are suggesting, and we have suggested in our paper, which I and Huzaima has jointly written, is that...
Huzaima, by the way, is Dr. Saab's wife.
Yeah. Yes.
Another very competent tax lawyer and his companion and his co-author in everything.
So what we have emphasized that with automated agency, like you have in all the countries now, and India has improved because of automation. Everywhere now it is necessary. And then these people, they will have faith, because with the present setup, they will never come. Nadeem has a very good point, that they are not afraid of paying tax. They are afraid of going to these people, because they say, don't pay. As we have discussed earlier, that 90% advisory services are now with them. So their punchline is that don't pay to the state, pay to us. And their argument is that state is not paying us sufficiently.
So, Dr. Saab, I get your point. Now, let me see. Faisal, I want to ask you this.
Yes.
Too. So, I agree with Dr. Saab entirely. I think he's made a very good case, and I read the paper a long time ago, and I was very happy with it. There's a big payoff from simplification.
Yes.
Yes, we must have simplified taxes. Get rid of this cumbersome routine things. And Dr. Saab is absolutely right. Get rid of all these nuisance taxes like surcharges, etc. Dr. Saab, no more exemptions, right?
No.
No more
exemptions.
Right?
No exemptions.
In fact, I
Because
think
exemptions create the
distortions. And
In
room
fact-
for maneuverability.
In fact, tell me, are exemptions constitutionally valid?
Not at all. You know, because
they are not even constitutionally
They are
valid.
not constitutionally valid.
Because
Dr. Saab will tell you.
Amazing.
they, over the period of time, for their own interest as well, the parliamentarian have abdicated their right of levying taxes.
Only
because,
Parliament can do it.
And they have given delegation. This delegation is against the Constitution,
that's true.
which Article 77
So mini
says
budgets are-
that it is exclusive right of the Parliament to tax or not to tax. No executive authority can make any waiver even. So this waiver by executive authority is patently ultra vires of Constitution, and this was written by Supreme Court in the
Why has
judgment
the
of
court
Next
never
time,
taken- why
next
has the
time they
court
levy
never
another
taken-
mini budget, you and I are going to court.
Please do.
Right.
Absolutely. Tell me, why has the court not ruled on this?
Oh, they have ruled.
They have?
In the, in
So why
Mustafa
are the
Impact's case.
exemptions still given?
Because they think that nobody will go and file a contempt proceeding against them.
Professor, get ready.
I'm ready.
But now I want to take up something with you and Dr. Saab both.
Yeah.
Because you've been saying on Twitter too, and he writes in every article, that it is very important to tax people.
Yeah.
And we keep hearing that if we don't tax, we don't develop. Can you prove this case to me?
If you
What
don't
has
tax,
tax
we don't-
got to do with development?
Okay, I'll tell you what my issue is. My issue is that there must be an equitable regime, right? The poor should not be taxed. What is the purpose of taxation in a modern city, in a modern nation state?
Society.
The delivery of the service contract, right? This is what is...
So please tell me, what services is the government giving me?
Yeah.
Is the government giving us anything?
That is one of the main reasons that why people are not inclined to pay tax in Pakistan. They say whatever we pay, it goes into their own luxuries. And this
It goes to Dubai or it goes to south of France.
Are there lovely houses here? Are there beautiful cars?
Absolutely.
Are there beautiful...
So if we have data of like 3.4 million people with Nadra, they have developed it when there was a chairman earlier than this present one. He presented it to Federal Board of Revenue because there was interlinkage with them, people having houses, people having more than one accounts with heavy amounts, people having expensive cars, going outside Pakistan 4 or 5 times. And he has developed a pattern, and he asked them, can you verify how many of these are filing returns? And it was found that hardly any of these people were filing. Therefore, in the very beginning, I linked it with the number that if in a country 4,000 people are not declaring income tax exceeding 10 million, what it shows. We are not saying that we have 20 million people having a huge income, but certainly we have 2.5 million people. If they contribute...
Dr. Saab, my point is very simple. Why do you want people to pay taxes?
So I say, if these 2.5 million
If
or
they
3
pay, so what
million,
happens?
And this amount is then provided for welfare of the less privileged of the society, a culture will develop where we can say that we are moving towards the democratization of society, because the tax is important for democratization of society, because here we are not talking about tax for the luxuries of these elites. We are talking about the tax.
Do you buy that?
I buy it. I buy it. I'll tell you why. Because, like I said, I was earning a sizable amount when I was in England, and I was paying a lot of tax.
No, but please
it
don't talk about England. Talk about Pakistan.
I've got to talk
our
comparatives.
Our taxes here.
No, not over here. Over here, I heard.
Here, Dr. Saab, all our tax increase has gone towards creating golf courses, towards creating palaces, right? Towards
and
creating
subsidizing the car owner.
the huge roads.
Yes.
So please tell me,
Underpasses, overpasses, right?
And when I go to a school or university, what do I see?
In the given scenario, Nadeem, we have 2 arguments. One is that if all this is happening, which is wrong, we all know, should we discontinue it, or we say that we should not pay tax. So my point of view is that, of course, you have a justification for that, that when this whole money is going to these kind of activities.
That the trader normally makes.
Yes. But my counter argument is that we should exert pressure on these people that they, in their own good interest now, they have done a lot of bad with this country. Now it is in their own good interest that they should give up these things. They should also start paying their due taxes, and these all subsidies and everything should end.
Instead of asking them to pay more.
Yes.
Why don't we...
No, I'm not saying asking them to pay more. Yeah. But I'm asking them that all these waivers, exemptions, subsidies, they should end. And this is the campaign we should launch. Yeah. Along with that, the tax campaign, because in isolation, tax campaign in Pakistan will be a bad idea.
How about a campaign
for
utilizing expenditures better?
Yes,
right?
That should
How about, for example, today...
But that's the budget, isn't
Today
it?
there was an article in the newspapers. I mean, this is where it comes from, Dr. Saab. Today there was an article in the newspapers written by a girl and a boy from, I think,
Karachi, I saw that.
About how Raftar, that NGO that was created by DFID, how they put out a paper and everybody is now swallowing that paper because the donor has told us that we should pay more taxes. In their own country, they're dropping taxes. In our country, they're increasing taxes. But I think the fault is ours. Why don't we look at expenditures? What are our expenditures like? Where are our expenditures going?
But we are not saying that we should pay more taxes. What we are suggesting is that...
widening the tax base, simplifying it.
We should bring our taxes down because we have very high regimes of taxes which are unjustified even in this society if you want to develop. But once we do that, then you should simultaneously also take away all these plot perks and
how about,
these
I put it differently,
things.
How about taking away the plots, perks, the houses, the palaces, and the 5 cars for every official, and the $2 for every minister?
That is a must.
That is a must, right?
That is a must.
So for that we have to pay.
Yes.
We have to pay for the dollars.
Yes.
Each dollar costs how much?
About
each dollar the policeman
with
each dollar, right? And that's what we are paying our taxes for. The poor trader then is right.
Yes.
That, hey, why should I pay for that, right? So the question is...
Even I agree with him.
Yeah, even you agree with him. Good.
Everybody will.
So the question is, can we actually begin to look at our expenditures? Can we actually begin to say that we are a wasteful country, we are a very wasteful country, and therefore asking us for more taxes is wrong?
No doubt about it. We are saying that this malpractice, or whatever you may call it, this is the main reason that other people then also make it as a good argument against you, that why they should pay to you. Because in USA, for a long period of time, there was a struggle for taxpayer bill of right. This bill of right was not that they wanted. What was the taxpayer bill of right? That certain percentage of tax should be spent on them. They also struggled a lot, and then they got it a statutory basis in their constitution as well, that state will have to spend this amount. And this taxpayer bill of rights should also be, to my mind, in Pakistan, a kind of prerequisite that if you want my tax, then should also ensure that what health allocation will be. And not only that, health allocation will be, its best utilization for the masses will be.
Health outcome should be.
Outcome. And for the education as well. Not only this kind of percentage I want as my taxpayer bill of right, but also its quality of that spending I want. Not that ultimately the babus are the beneficiary even of that health and that education budget.
What is it? You want a nanny state?
Not really, not a nanny, but the state is always going to be a nanny. No, let me put it that way. Why shouldn't the state be a nanny? What is the purpose of the state?
We have to take that up sometime. The nanny state we have to take up. But right now, I think we're coming to the end of the program. So I think it's very important to summarize the proposal of Ikram. You want to summarize the proposal, or do you want to say something?
I think it's very clear that there has to be a simplified tax regime, right? Starting with the tariff, right? Then on to the withholding tax structure, the sales tax, then the income tax, and then the corporatized.
So basically, there should be 4 taxes.
4 taxes.
No more.
And
Nothing
simplified. Within them.
And very low rates.
No exemptions, zero exemptions. Nobody should be exempted. No sector should be exempted. No industry should be exempted.
And there should be less compliance cost and ease of doing business.
And my last tuppence worth, ladies and gentlemen, is very simple. The government should not have a right to tax unless it can deliver to us. We must have a responsible government arising out of a social contract. We pay for the social contract. It's not a bhatta that the government has to collect. Thank you very much. See you at the coffee table next time. Tomorrow, hopefully. Bye-bye.